there, I have kind of a fun topic for you today as we move into the holiday season. So if you're a person who celebrates Christmas, you will definitely find some tips in this video for planning your Christmas gifts, your Christmas gift sewing. And also if you don't celebrate, or if you live in a country that doesn't go so crazy about it like the US does, I think you might still find some helpful tidbits here. So I'm Nikki, this is Pin Cut Sew. Today we're going to discuss planning your Christmas gift sewing. I feel like Christmas gift sewing can become overwhelming because this is the time of year that no matter who you are or what kind of life you have, everything just ramps up in busyness. So it's already a busy time, and then you're adding Christmas on top of everything. And so I don't know what causes what. Does Christmas cause the busyness, or does the busyness cause Christmas to feel busier? I don't know. At any rate, though, it's a busy time. And so trying to add in plenty of crafting and sewing time is challenging, right? So since you can't make more time, let's make our gift sewing a little bit more streamlined and maybe a little bit pared down. I have 5 tips. I usually don't number my tips because I lose track while I'm talking and then I end up having like 7 tips, or I say number 4 twice, but 5 tips. Hopefully I can keep on track. Okay, tip number 1 is to reevaluate the gifts you're planning to make. And I have made a whole video on this and it continues to receive lots of comments. So I think it resonated with a lot of people. You don't have to sew the presents. Just because you can sew does not mean that you have to sew your Christmas gifts and that is the only gift that others will find acceptable from you, or that other people are allowed to ask for what they want and receive it from you. You don't have to do what they want. And also, you can make gifts for some people and not others. Some people love a handmade gift. Other people don't love a handmade gift. Neither person is wrong, but know your people and make the gifts only for those who really, really love and enjoy them. And don't obligate yourself, because oftentimes it's not anyone else putting this pressure on us. It's just ourselves. Just because you can sew doesn't mean you have to. Buy the presents or eliminate some people from the list. Your friends and family will understand if you pare down the Christmas list, and they will probably even thank you for being the first person to do it. We do not need to have this extravagant Christmas, this long, lengthy list of people we are supposed to give gifts to. Give gifts because you want to, and if you don't want to make them, buy them. If you don't want to buy them or make them, don't give them at all. Give a nice hug, a card, some cookies, whatever. However, if you are someone who wants to sew the presents, but you're on a very tight budget, stay tuned to tip number 5, because I have been there and I have tips for that too. Okay, tip 2. I'm on track so far, but I'm only on number 2. So my next one is to write it all down. I do not consider myself an administratively, driven person. My administrative skills, you don't want me for those. Give me the craft projects, put me on dish duty, I don't know, but don't give me the email list. Okay, but this is one thing. I do love list making when I have quite a list to make things for. So I made this gift sewing planner. You can go get this from my shop. It's just free. You just check out for $0. I'm going to put the link right there in the description because I thought it would be more fun to have it be cute. So I have the name, the gift, the to sew list. So right here you can see I'm going to sew bowl covers for some people. I'm going to sew ornaments for some people. So here I wrote my batch sewing list: 6 ornaments, 3 sets of bowl covers. There are some things on here that my daughters have asked for. My daughter wants a specifically sized zipper pouch. My other daughter wants a laptop sleeve. So those are things I'll hopefully get to. Just realized my daughter edits these videos. Layla, if I don't make the laptop sleeve for Christmas, I promise I will make it soon. Okay? Promise. And then I have here a shopping list so I can go get my supplies I need, and then notes. So you can go get this if it's helpful for you, but I always find it very helpful to write the whole thing down. So then, because things get so crowded in your mind, and if you're just trying to remember them all mentally, when I write things down, also when I have a lot to do, I do the same thing. I'm sure you do too. Ooh, there's like a spider web. Gross. When I have a lot of things to do, it feels like so much when I'm just thinking about it mentally, but then when I write it down, it suddenly feels super doable, even when it's a very long list. So the same is true for this, and while you're making the list, go ahead and start assessing if these are things you actually have time for, that you actually want to make, that the person will actually like, and that is just a realistic list of things to make. Okay, which brings me to tip number 3, and it is playing off of that being realistic mindset. If you have put a quilt for your mother-in-law on your list, but you just know you're going to be rage finishing that quilt on Christmas Eve, maybe knock the quilt into next Mother's Day and make something simpler for Christmas instead. Or if you have decided everybody on your list is going to get something that is just too complicated to sew 10 of at a time, then evaluate if you really want to make that, if you have time to make that, if you have the money for the supplies to make that, and maybe pick something simpler. And also continue to release yourself from the obligation, because if you have 4 nieces and 3 of them would absolutely love a little doll quilt, but the 4th one hates dolls, don't make her one. Don't make her one that she won't like just so she'll match the other nieces. Make her something she will like, or buy her whatever she actually is into. Oh, also, if anyone has asked you for an item in the past and you know they would love it, but you don't want to make it, cross that off the list also. It might come back around later. You could be self-sacrificing later for their birthday, but maybe Christmas sewing time is not the time to make something that you really don't like, because remember, the season is already busy. You don't want to add extra stress onto yourself. A good tip is, if I had to make this tomorrow, would I be putting it on my list today? Because I think sometimes I do this a lot when I'm deciding whether or not to say yes to something. If this event were happening tonight, would I be excited about it? And if the answer is no, I'd be dreading going out to that tonight, I say no. If the answer is actually yes, I think that'd be really a fun thing to do tonight, then I say yes. So it's easy to think our future selves will be more into something than our present selves, but it's just not true. It doesn't work like that. So if you're dreading sewing it today, you'll still be dreading sewing it a month from now, especially when you're stress sewing it. Okay, tip number 4, right? I said 3. Yes, okay, tip number 4 is to batch sew the gifts. I also have a whole video on this. It is gifts to batch sew. I made it last year during Christmas in July. It's like the simple things that you can make a dozen of at once that is fun and fuss free. So this year for me, it's the bowl covers that I just made the pattern and tutorial for. I'll put a link to that video because it's non-fussy. I purposefully designed the pattern so that it is fast to make. There are no elements on it that I hate. Like, you don't have to sew on bias tape. You don't have to stitch on elastic. They're easy, they're fun. They'll use fabric that I already have. So when you're thinking of gifts that you can make, try to pick those simple things you can batch sew. Things like aprons, pillowcases, book sleeves, things that are generally well loved by everyone. Tea towels, kitchen items are a good one. You will be able to sew them more quickly and you'll have fun doing it because it's fun to match fabrics with gifts for people, I think. That's my favorite part, like picking fabrics for each person that looks like them. Okay, and also you can easily batch sew something small. I really love to make a whole batch of little handmade ornaments for like friends or church friends, or maybe you have a book club or a quilt group, or just people who come over, or sometimes I just need a little thank you gift for someone at Christmas time. And so little ornaments for me are my favorite thing to do. I purposefully try to pick some that are easy to sew, to batch sew, because a lot of ornament patterns you'll find have a lot of like hand stitching. It's like a one-off ornament, or it's meant to be. But for me, I really look at the elements, and if it's gonna be too involved with too much hand sewing, it's a no. And so I always pick little things to batch sew that are simple and fun for me. So I also have a whole video of small gifts, like little something gifts, which segues perfectly into my final tip, number 5. Stayed on track. Number 5 is for those of you who really are on a tight budget. These are my tips for you. I have been there. I've had many a lean Christmas when I feel like I don't have the option of buying things, but I want to gift things to people. And so my number 1 tip for that is, instead of finding a project and then gathering supplies, reverse that process and assess your supplies and then pick a project. So if you have a lot of half yard cuts of random fabrics, maybe make the oversized hot pad. Or if you have a lot of little scraps and a bunch of batting scraps, then you can make the round pot holders, the quilted, it's called crazy quilted pot holders. Just because it's a little doesn't mean that you can't sort of dress it up. So my sister made, I got this out because I think it's cute. I think she made this in her 1st or 2nd year of marriage, and they've been married I think 25 years. And I still have it because I still love a lot of these recipes. Jana's seasonal favorites. This cost her hardly anything, maybe the cardstock. And she assembled her favorite recipes in this book. So if you were to make some kitchen items with the scraps you already have and pair it with some favorite recipes, or a mason jar cozy with flowers inside, or some recipe cards inside. Or actually the mason jar cozy video has like 20 ways that you can gift that, like what to pair it with. So try to think like, what can I pair this little something gift with? So I'll post my little something video. I will post all of the videos links that I have mentioned here, and hopefully you'll get some good ideas. And for those of you on a budget, hopefully you can get some ideas for things that you can sew and show your loved ones that you care without spending really anything. You probably don't have to spend anything for some of those things. So just assess what you already have and then pick the gift based on that instead of the other way around. I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have other tips on how you plan out and organize your Christmas gift sewing list, we would love to hear those in the comments. And I will see you very soon with Christmas sewing tutorials. You can probably see a little sneak peek right there. It's cute. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.